I'm Ellen Hurst. I'm the director of the Alabama Cares Program at East Alabama Planning Commission's Area Agency on Aging. I know that's a mouthful. Thank you for coming today. Make sure that everyone signed in the front, at the front table. If you are here today, whether you are a vendor or if you're just attending, please make sure that you sign in so we can get credit for you being here today, so that we could tell the state we're actually talking to people, right? That we're not making you up, that you're not AI people, right? I'm sure Carl will talk all about that. Just make sure that you sign in for that. And then I'm going to introduce our speaker today. Carl Bates is going to be our speaker today. He's with the Better Business Bureau. He joined the Better Business Bureau, serving Central and South Alabama as its president and CEO in February of 2020. He is a graduate of the University of Southern Mississippi. He moved to Alabama 27 years ago and previously worked in sales and marketing management positions for the Birmingham News, AL.com, and the Alabama Media Group. He's married to his lovely wife, Pam, and they are empty nesters and have 4 wonderful grandchildren, all under the age of 9 years old, and I know you're busy and running after those kids. Wow. All under 9. So, and I thought I was having a problem with just one grandchild. Okay, I would like to introduce you to Carl Bates.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that the Better Business Bureau is doing and some of the things that you should be looking out for as people call you on the phone or do different things with you as they're trying to scam you or get your identity and things. That's what we do at the Better Business Bureau. So I want to just, let's see, there we go. A little bit about the Better Business Bureau, first of all. We've been in business over 100 years. People don't realize that, but the Better Business Bureau has actually been in business now 120 years this year, helping people all across the country. In this area, we cover all the states that you see in our Alabama map that are highlighted in yellow. We cover 50 counties in this area. We have an office in Birmingham, one in Mobile, about 20 or 25 folks, fairly dedicated folks who spend their time like this on the road talking to folks like yourself and then dealing with individuals as people have problems. So just to let you know, that's kind of our life, is working with folks like are here today to help you understand what to look out for. And our job is really to help educate you so that we'd rather have you avoid being scammed or being taken advantage of than we would try and help you once you've been taken advantage of. So that's really our goal in this. Some of the things we do speakers like this today. We help people with customer reviews, with complaints. If you have had somebody do work on your home or your house, or you've gotten a phone call and you need to make a complaint, you can call us, you can go online, you can come see us, and we'll take care of the complaint and we'll try and mediate it with the person who didn't take care of the problem for you. This is especially true with people who've had work done on their homes, roofing, windows, things like that, where the roof still leaks and the roofer won't come back and fix it. We work with that a lot and try and work to get people to come back and do the right thing with folks. There we go. There's the 5 standards of fraud, basically, folks. There's 5 red flags, and that's when somebody's asking you to hurry up, when you talk to somebody on the phone or they come to your home or your apartment and they want to do something to help you and you didn't ask them to come, that's a red flag. If they're trying to get you to make a decision quickly without taking time to think about it and consider multiple options, that's a red flag. If they're asking you to pay them money right now, can you pay me in cash? Can you give me a deposit? Can you pay for the job before I start it? That's a red flag. If they're asking for something in return, in other words, if you do me a favor, I'll do you a favor, that's a red flag for you to be careful of as people are talking to you. If people are calling you on the phone and they're not phone calls that you recognize or people you know You need to be very careful with those people. That's a red flag of fraud, especially in these days and times. When you answer the phone, you need to be aware that every phone call basically is being recorded these days. And that's when Miss Ellen talks about AI and artificial intelligence, what we're finding today is the number one fraud issue is this artificial intelligence that you hear about a lot on the news. People are recording your voice on the phone, or they're recording your grandchildren's voice, or they're recording your friend's voice, and then they're using that through a computerized program to make your voice sound and make it say anything they want. They can call Regions Bank today if they've recorded enough syllables of your voice and apply for a credit card without you ever knowing about it, because they can take your voice and manipulate it to ask Regions to apply for a new Visa card for you and then send it to them and then use that Visa card. So it's one of those things one of the red flags of fraud is be very careful when you answer the phone what information you give them. And I'll give you an example of that. We call it the grandparent scam. Some of you may have gotten involved in this over time. The phone rings and it's somebody who says, hey, this is your granddaughter and I've just been arrested and I need help. And you're not sure if it's your granddaughter, so you say, well, is it my granddaughter Emily or my granddaughter Anna? And the scammer says, they got a 50-50 shot. They say, well, it's Anna, your granddaughter, and I've been arrested and I need you to help me get out of jail. Now, all of that is because the scammer knew who you were, where you lived, and had your phone number. At that point, they're going to ask you for money, and you've got to decide, is it really your granddaughter or not? And the question becomes, and they're going to ask you for money right away. Like, can you go to CVS or Publix to the pharmacy and go to the ATM and take out money right now or buy a gift card? And while I'm on the phone, I'll call you back in 15 minutes. And the sheriff where I've been arrested will ask you for all the numbers off that gift card so I can get out of jail. If you do that, you have just given a scammer whatever amount you put on that gift card. And there is probably no one trying to get out of jail or that's been arrested or that's had an automobile accident and needs money in order to get home. And I can tell you this from firsthand experience with my in-laws that this happened. My father-in-law, who's 86, was there. Exact thing happened. It happened to be his wife, who's 85, was sitting next to him. And she said, Jim, who are you talking to? And Jim said, I think it's one of our grandchildren. She said, which one? He answered, she called the grandchild with her cell phone and said, Emily, have you been arrested? Emily said, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm at work. I'll call you back later. Hung up. Well, Emily wasn't arrested. Emily was at work, but they had enough information based on what they've looked at over time, or people answering the phone, or knowing from looking on social media when you post pictures of family gatherings like birthdays and Christmas and other who's all there, and you tag those people, the scammers knew who was in their family. And they were going to ask for several $100s in order for Emily to get out of jail. So that's when we say these 5 things that we've listed up here are keys to everybody getting out of the fraud business and not being taken. And the best thing you can do when the phone rings is if it says potential scam on it, hit the red button and don't answer it. Let that go. If it's somebody you know, and we all have these great pocket computers now in our hands, if it's somebody you know and you've put their phone number and their name in your phone and you know it's them, fine. But if you don't, you need to be very careful. It's just like somebody coming to your front door and knocking on the door. There's no difference anymore between what comes on our phone and what comes to our front door and knocks on the door. So be very cautious with that, and that's just one of the stories about artificial intelligence that we are finding these days that we tell people to be very, very careful about. Okay, let's go back. There we go. Okay. New information just came out. The last few years, since we all went through COVID and we all learned how to order things online and get it delivered right to our house or our apartment, was that Amazon and Target and those people were the #1 companies that people took advantage of. They had the most fraud. Last year, oops, sorry. Must have hit the button here. Let's see if we can get it to come back. Whoop. Okay. Last year, the company with the most fraudulent things happening to it, listed in red for you, is the United States Postal Service. Okay? Again, how many of you have gotten a text message that says, your package has been delayed? This is a text message. Your package has been delayed, and we need more information from you. If you'll just click this link on this text message, we will get the information we need so the package you ordered can be delivered. Okay? #1 company now getting fraud claims against it is the United States Postal Service. You can see the others, Amazon, all of the main people out there. The other ones that are important to y'all, all of us have these phones, all of us have tablets, all of us have computers. You'll see Apple and Microsoft are listed on that list. That's very important to know that, because you're going to get phone calls from people like Microsoft and Apple, or at least people claiming to be Apple, or text messages or emails saying your software on your computer is out of date. Click here to update it. Unless you know that your software is up to date, don't click on any of those links. Again, it goes back to those 5 red flags of fraud that we talk about. If you don't know that it's there, that you need it, don't click on it. Don't answer the door, don't answer the phone. Okay, and we'll talk about that more as we go through this. It's very crucial that we all learn on that. I will tell you that the people who've gone down on the list is Medicare and Social Security. They used to be way high on the list, but Medicare and Social Security have cleaned up their act so that it's very hard for them to be fraudulently inhibited by these scammers. And I will tell you about that the IRS, Social Security, Medicare, if they need you, they're going to contact you by letter, old-fashioned letter. It's going to come in the mail, and they're going to ask you for more information or ask you to call them. If you get a text message, an email, a phone call from them, we strongly advise for you to hang up, call back the 800 number for each one of those organizations from the government, and ask them if there's a problem with your account, and talk to a representative and have them go through it with you. Because those are likely, again, scammers. There's less of them now than ever, because those people have done a good job in the federal government of limiting that. So very crucial that we don't go into things. It's kind of, the old-fashioned thing was somebody knocked on the door and said, looks like your roof needs some work. You said, great, what does it need? And they said, well, I can get you a new roof for free. You've got hail damage, and I'll get your insurance company to pay for it. That was the scam 10 years ago. Now the scam is on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. It's very rarely that somebody comes to your door and knocks on the door and says, I can get you a free roof. They do it, but not as often. Let me see which... Top 3 areas to look at. Cryptocurrency and investment scams, #1. Online scams is on the top 3. You want to be very careful with those. We've talked about that. These crypto scams, in the past, people asked you when they were scamming you for gift cards primarily, or to give them cash. Now they're going to ask you to go to a crypto ATM, which means they're going to send you to a place that has something that looks like an ATM, and there are about 30 of them in the Oxford, Alabama area, just right here, right around this Civic Center, and they're going to ask you to go there and punch in their wallet number and then actually take cash and put it in that ATM. And we have seen people, I had one example of a person in Birmingham, retired federal employee, scammer said, you know, we've accidentally put money in your bank account. We need to get it back. He went to his federal credit union. He withdrew $28,000 in cash. They said, if you'll go down the street to this Chevron station that has an ATM and a crypto ATM and return it to us by putting in this wallet number and then stand there and put that money in, we'll be even. And we'll actually give you a finder's fee of 10%. We'll give you $2,000 for helping us out, correct our mistake. And he did that. He went to the convenience store and he stood there with $100 bills and put over $20,000 into the machine. Once he did that, that money was gone. It looks like an ATM, it acts like an ATM, but it's taking cryptocurrency, and as soon as you put it in there, it's going immediately in the scammer's hands, and they're transferring it to a different account that you'll never see again. So when people ask you to do those kind of things, out here in the Oxford-Anniston area, we've had reports of people getting scammed by phone calls from what looks like the Calhoun County Sheriff's Department saying you have a warrant for your arrest because you failed to show up for jury duty. And in order to satisfy this warrant, there's a fine of $500, $800, whatever it is. We need it to be paid immediately or we're going to have to come and arrest you. Nobody in the room wants to be arrested, right? So you go to the bank and you get the money and you take it to a ATM, crypto ATM, and you put it in there and it's gone. With asphalt driveways or gravel driveways, those of you that have those, and every once in a while they need some help or they need potholes filled, somebody comes by and says, I've been working in your neighborhood and I've got a half a load left from a job. I see you've got some potholes in your driveway. I'd like to fill them for you. I can do it for a low amount. Many, many times those turn into disastrous jobs that people end up filing a complaint on and we try and help them on. Okay, vacations. Many of you may have had timeshares over the years. This used to be a bigger thing than it is today, thank goodness. But the timeshares and the vacation offers that we see are also very, very problematic. If you bought a timeshare, you know every year you're going to get a bill for maintenance. Every year you're going to get an assessment for the building to redo it or to redo your unit on that. If you see these offers where you can go to Gatlinburg for 3 nights, 4 days for $99, please, 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 before you sign up for those and send them any money or give them your credit card, check those out, read the fine print, because most of those are scams. Most of those we find are, you're going to either be stuck in a timeshare seminar for 2 or 3 hours during your vacation there, which you're required to go to, or they're going to charge you the full price for the room, or that's really just to get your credit card number so they can charge multiple amounts, multiple times off your credit card. And then with your identity stolen, with that credit card stolen, you're going to have to find a way to cancel that credit card. So be very careful with those. Don't look for those special deals. If it looks too good to be true, it is too good to be true. So. Okay, mail fraud. Before we talked about the U.S. Postal Service and what's going on, and I don't know how many of you have been victim of this, but the U.S. Postal Service went from being in the bottom to being in the top of fraud last year. And I want to talk about this for a minute. Those of you who mail checks to people, you get a credit card bill. It has an envelope in it that is like this one with a window, and you can write your check and you tear off the bottom and you put it in the envelope. We are recommending, and the post office is recommending, not to use those window envelopes anymore. You'll find that the checks that are being stolen, and it's millions and millions of dollars every month that are being stolen by people and then deposited into their accounts because they're using ink to change the name. If you wrote it out to Chase Bank, they're changing it to Chase Bates and using a last name on it and then depositing it in their account. That is easily done. You can buy all that stuff to do check washing, they call it, on the internet using Amazon. You can go look it up. You'll find it there today, and you can have it there tomorrow. And we're finding thousands of dollars of checks stolen every week, particularly in this area. And these checks get stolen, they get repurposed, they get deposited, the money's gone. We had a company that was owed $90,000. The person who owed it to them was in Dallas, Texas. They sent them a check. They put it in a window envelope just like this one. They sent it to them. The scammers, which were probably insiders in the post office, stole the check, went to a local bank, one you would very well recognize, opened an account in that company's name, and deposited the check. The check went through, it cashed, it was good. And within the week, they took out 3 outlays of $30,000 a piece. So they cleaned out the account base. They left like $15 in that account. So they cleaned out the $90,000. About a week later, the actual company who was looking for the check calls the person who sent it in Dallas, Texas, and says, "Where's our money? We did the job." And they go, "We sent you the check and you cashed it. We can look at it online and see it was cashed." They go, "We never received your check. We never cashed your check." The scammers had done that. $90,000 gone. They actually used an address of a vacant lot. So they had a new address. They went to the Alabama State Attorney General's office, registered the company. They set it all up in about 30 minutes, went to the bank, opened the account, cashed the check. So this check cashing thing and the check mail fraud that you see up there is very, very true. A couple of easy things about that. Post office boxes, blue mailboxes. Please don't drop mail in blue mailboxes at the post office. And post office will tell you that too. Post office is going through every of those blue mailboxes that are on street corners in the country now and removing them and redoing them with mailboxes that you cannot commit fraud with, that you cannot stick your hand down or open. Because all of those blue mailboxes across the country that we're all so used to seeing, you know how many keys there were to those? There were only 4 different types of keys in the country. And every mail carrier had one. And all it took was a bad mail carrier to sell their key, and anybody could open that mailbox, go in there and grab all the window envelopes that were in there, get all the checks, and start cashing them. So they're now changing how they do that. So you can't look down in there, reach your hand down in there. They're also changing the lock mechanism. They might have already done it here in Oxford and Anniston and Calhoun County. They've done it in Birmingham to stop this. But that's number one. The second thing was they put cameras up on most of these boxes because people were stealing so much mail. And some of it was postal workers. Some of it was just people who had a key and they'd bought a key and they were going from post office box to post office box at night, going through the mail that was in the box and doing it. So some of it was an inside job, some of it was an outside job, but some of it was the equipment they had. So this mail fraud thing is huge right now. The post office has done a really good job of working on it, but they're very, very difficult to try and get to change all those boxes. Think how many there are. So take your mail into the post office is the question. Don't give it to your carrier because you don't know a good carrier from a bad one. Don't give it to your carrier. Don't put it in your mailbox with the little red flag up. Take a minute, take it down to the post office, walk in the post office, put it in there. 50%, your chances of it not being stolen improve by 50% is the post office's thing if you take it into the post office to mail it on that. So want to be very careful with that. A couple of other things to talk about, and they're not necessarily on the slide, but we'll end with a couple of things on the slide, a couple of thoughts. One is automobiles. Those of you who own an automobile or have bought an automobile or are looking for an automobile, you need to be very careful. Again, if you're looking for a used car and you're not going to a dealer, a local dealer that you know, going to the lot, looking at it, touching it, driving it, be very careful. We have seen over $6 million worth of unauthorized deposits been put down on used cars through the internet because they look pretty, the picture looked good, there was a Carfax report on it, there was a title, and they were going to deliver it to them in a few days. Last year, $6 million just here in Alabama, stolen from people who bought cars, from cars they had never seen, but they really looked good on the camera. They really looked good to them, and they were a good deal. So make sure if you're going to buy a car, buy a used car particularly, that you go see it, you check it out, you know the dealer. Even if you're buying from an individual, make sure you check it out, check the car out, have it inspected. Make sure it's what you've been told it is. Make sure the title is clean on it, that it hasn't been wrecked. Those kind of things are very important. We see that a lot. The other thing I'll tell you about is, most of us know about Carfax these days. You get a report before you buy a car and it tells you if the car's been wrecked, it tells you how many service calls it's been made, things like that. There are now multiple companies out there run by scammers that are basically, they look like Carfax, but they're not. There's one called CarfaxUSA.com. Very easy when you're putting that in to get confused, or when you do a Google search for Carfax, Carfax USA comes right up. If you go to Carfax USA, the first report will be $1, and they'll charge it to your credit card. But what you've just done for that $1 is you've signed up for their monthly service for $29 a month until you cancel it. And unless you kept the information about where Carfax USA was and got all the fine print off that website, you will have a very difficult time canceling that. And they will be charging your credit card $29 until you cancel your credit card. And we are seeing multiple of those out there, so be very careful. Carfax is the gold standard of that. Anything else is questionable these days, and there are multiple of them out there, at least 10 or 12 that we know of on that. So I want to just, and I'm going to open it up for questions, but I want to just kind of end with that. It's pretty simple thing. It's not what you know, it's who you can trust. And everything that we talk about at the Better Business Bureau, as we work with folks, we all became DIYers over the last few years. We've all gone to Lowe's and Home Depot and done things for ourselves, or fixed a car, changed our wiper blades or whatever, versus taking it in to have somebody do it. So if you really aren't sure what you're doing, make sure you're dealing with somebody that you can trust, and that you're asking the right questions, and that you're not being rushed. I mean, we have a simple thing of stop, call, and confirm. I mean, this lady's taking great notes here. If you write nothing else down, write stop, call, and confirm. Because on everything we've talked about, if you will stop, take a breath, think it through for a minute, is it really what I want to do? Call and check the references of the company. Go online, check out the company, and make sure the company actually exists. And then confirm with people that you trust that this company actually will do the work that you're hiring them to do. Whether it's fixing your car, doing your landscaping, doing some work on your home, or an investment, or a timeshare. If you'll do that, stop, call, and confirm, your chances of being taken and being scammed by the scammers out there go down tremendously. And that right there that's on the screens is what we preach day in, day out. Stop, call, and confirm, and look at who you can trust when you're working with people. If these are not people you can trust, is it worth saving a few bucks to take the risk? So with that, I'll take any questions that you got on this. Glad to answer them for you, or I'll be in the back if you need help. So thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. And like I said, mark your calendar for May for the next event. And we're hoping that we'll have some really good, well, we always have good speakers, but we're hoping that we'll have a doctor here that day. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your church folks, and make sure that you follow us on Facebook on the Alabama Cares Program, East Alabama. Make sure you follow us on TV 24. This show here is 3 days a week. It's aired 3 days a week, and every Friday with Courtney Lynham, we have Rise and Shine with Courtney, myself, and Alabama Cares Program. And make sure that you visit all of our vendors, and I thank all of our vendors for coming. You guys are wonderful. And I'll see you next month.